all, Paulette with Back to Basics Mom here. Today, I have a video for you showing you my very first card with my very first My Monthly Hero kit from Hero Arts. So this month it is a coffee cocoa theme, and it's got a lot of really fun stamps, and there's just a lot of possibilities with this. So let's jump right in and see what we can come up with. So I'm just using this bee cotton paper that I talked about in a haul not too long ago, and I used my anti-static tool there because I'm going to emboss, and I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black, and I should have used my stamp positioner, but luckily I didn't stamp it down yet, and as I was stamping it down I noticed I did not have full coverage of the ink on the stamp, and you'll see I kind of keep checking it again, which that is the advantage of clear stamps, is you can kind of see that before you stamp it down. So getting a nice impression here, just leave it for a minute so the paper can soak up the ink, and then we're going to clear emboss. So I love keeping my clear embossing powder in this big container with the little spoon. It is just so helpful having that big container to work with. So we're just going to heat emboss it with our heat gun and see if we can have some fun painting. Now I'm going to use this travel watercolor set that I got not too long ago, and I've talked about it a little bit. I know I did a haul video on it, and I'm still working on a video where I'm talking about the best uses and the best papers to use it with, kind of my first impressions kind of thing. So I'm still working on that video. So but here I'm just filling these in and just kind of picking whatever color. I love this pinky red color. It is really, really pretty. It's one of my favorites, I think, on this palette, and there's some really pretty blues as well. So yeah, so just going to color these in and see what we can come up with. Now, I do find on this paper that the paint flows a little bit better with adding a little bit of a little bit of water to the paper before you put your color down. It just helps the flow a little bit and helps it so the paint doesn't kind of get so stuck in its spot. So I'm just using my swatch there because I'm going to do the tea and coffee colors, and it's kind of hard to see on the palette what they're going to look like, so that's why swatching out your colors is just super, super important. And I already had the idea for doing this, but I saw that Lindsay over at the Frugal Crafter did hers the same way, so of course that confirmed, yes, that was a great idea to do your swatch palette pretty much laid out exactly like the colors are on these little sticks. So okay, everything's painted, everything's die cut, and now we're going to build our card. So I use this paper pad, and I think this is Cartabella. I will have to check it and I'll confirm that later, but I didn't plan on using this at first, but I was going through my papers and I saw this super cute kind of pinkish rose little mini print that I thought would just be perfect right here. I just thought that was so cute. And then they had a really cute brown, and I just love pink and brown together, so I used those. And I die cut them out with a couple of different die sets. I used on the pink, for the scallopy edge, I used my Cat Scrappiness fancy scallop edge die. And to cut the inside out of that and to cut the brown, I used this Elizabeth Craft Designs die cut. So I ended up with my frame. I used some thin score tape to put those together, and now I'm going to figure out my layout. So one moment, excuse me. So I had a little bit of a dilemma here because I really wanted the blue mug in the middle because I wanted the mug in between the two cups, but I did not like the pink one next to the pink border, so I had to rearrange things a little bit, and in the end it works out. You'll see, it's just, I always find it interesting how you have like a certain idea in your mind, and as things progress, they change and ebb and flow and whatnot. So, and that happened to me a lot during this card, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But also when I did the embossing on for the whipped cream and stuff, I used that dimensional puffy embossing powder that came with the kit. And I really love the dimension it gives for the whipped cream and for the steam look there. Now on the whipped cream, when I stamped this on the vellum, it was a little bit too clearish looking for me, like you could see through so much. So I had this paint pen, so I just painted over the vellum with it, and I really like it. Gave it more of an opaque look, and I really love the way it turned out. So yeah, so we're just gonna get those stuck down and kind of look at our sentiment, see what we can find. And I actually end up going with a different sentiment later on. I picked that one out and ended up not liking it for this application. And I changed my mind here. I decided instead of just gluing things down that I was going to put them on some foam tape, which I'm out of my regular foam tape, so I had to use the dimensionals with Stampin' Up, which work just fine. They stick really well, but I remembered why I don't use these that often, because I guess I'm just lazy and I don't like peeling off all those little tiny pieces of paper. It kind of drives me crazy. So yeah, we're just going to pop these up, and they're just the right height. They're not super thick, because I have some stuff that's like really high, and that's good for shaker cards and stuff, but for a regular card, sometimes you don't want them popped up quite so high. So yeah, we're going to get all our cups on and just kind of keep playing around with how we want things to look. Now, I used my multi-matte medium when I was sticking some of this other stuff down because it sticks really well. You're going to see here I'm changing my mind on my sentiment that I had originally decided on, and it just worked better for my design, and I couldn't get that other one. It didn't look right. So it's funny how things, like I said, ebb and flow. And for the words, you want to make sure you use a super fine embossing powder. Do not use the dimensional powder that comes in this kit, because for words you really need that super fine detail, and you're not going to get it in the more dimensional ones, obviously. So I was really impressed. This is the first time I ever embossed on vellum, and it worked out really, really well. I was a little bit nervous that I was going to be melting my vellum or getting it all warped or something, which it does like to curl a little bit, but not too bad overall. So for this, I just used a little bit of that multi-matte medium just down on the very edge, because I just was attaching it to the top of the cup there. And now this is kind of comical. So I have these little teeny tiny foam dots. They're probably less than 1/8 of an inch, honestly. These were a pain in the butt. I don't even know if I'm ever going to use them again, because to get them placed was a pain, which this was a super fine thing. I probably should have done something different, but not only were getting them on there, even with my really teeny tiny what are those things called? Tweezers. Getting the little papers off was such a pain. So yeah, I do not know if I will use these again. Maybe for some other kind of project, but thank God that the steam, it's like a vellum, because if it was regular paper, I probably would have ripped it and stretched it and bent it beyond recognition, because I was so frustrated by this point. I was like cursing the entire time for why did I do this way, and yeah, so luckily in the end it works out. I really, really love how the card came out in the end, and so it's just kind of, when you don't do the card or your project ahead of time and test it out, it's always kind of interesting to see, what your result is in the end. Because I don't know about you, but I changed my mind a lot, because it's like, oh, no, I thought I was going to love that, and I don't, so let's move along. So this next part, that's going to happen too, because I forgot with vellum, it's really hard to stick it down, because any kind of tape or glue or whatever, it just shows through the vellum really bad. So I thought maybe I had enough thickness in some of those words to accomplish this, or maybe I'll use something else to help adhere it down. So you're going to kind of see this part. In the very end, I end up totally changing this, but again, I just left it in here because I figured I'd show you guys how, you can change your mind. A lot of times it's never too late to change your mind. Sometimes it's good to just leave it because it ends up working out. Sometimes it's not. But yeah, so I'm trying to, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing lately, it's stuff I've never really done before. So it's like I'm just kind of trying stuff and running with it, and just seeing how things work. So I'm sure that's the fun part, it's trying stuff. I mean, that's why I love doing this. That's why I like making videos for you guys, because I love trying new things and I like sharing with other people. Um, so I just left it all in there. So for now, I'm going to leave it and just kind of see if that dries up and it goes okay. I'm just going to stick this down to the card base. I'm just going to use my 1/4-inch score tape, which I don't use my score tape a ton, but it does come in handy on some projects. I'm so glad I own it. I used the 1/8 inch to adhere that frame down again to the base, like I said before, and it was just the perfect thing. I didn't have to worry about my tape runner and going out of the line, off the edge and all that. So yeah, I think I have it in 3 different sizes, like 1/8, 1/4, and then like 1/2 inch. And it's so sticky. So in some applications, it is just perfect. And I'm so glad I have it. So I'm thinking I'm done. I'm still not loving how that vellum's sticking down. I was thinking about decorating the inside of my card. But the more I look at this sentiment and how it's sitting on there with the glue, I'm just not liking it. So I'm going to pull it off before it's on there 100% permanently. Grab some white cardstock, grab some ink. Now this is a permanent ink, so you're going to see me stamp it really fast and stick it into my embossing powder because this ink dries really, really fast. So I was just kind of, normally I would never emboss with this ink, but it's a shiny cardstock too, so I thought it might work, and it turned out super great. I used a brown that kind of matched the background there, and I'm so happy I did this because in the end, the result is just exactly what I wanted. So I'm kind of glad I chose to change my mind on that. So just making sure it's dry. If you've ever smeared your embossing powder, you know how disappointing that is. I did that on a project recently, and I was just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. So I just want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and for liking and subscribing and choosing to spend your time visiting my channel, and I hope that you will continue to do so. And yeah, I hope you have fun in your craft area doing whatever you love. And if you want to keep seeing videos from me, I would love it if you would hit that bell down there so you're notified when I post new videos. And I'm sorry about I'm going to bump the camera around here somewhere. But yeah, there's my card. Again, thanks so much for stopping by. I would love it if you would subscribe. Find something crafty to do. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.